Another thing I share with my kiddos, an option that we do, since we have distal limbs for your arms and legs, and also an axial spine, but growing up my whole life, I was this guy. All right. Now, what I was doing was taking my center of gravity and moving it. All right. That's how one would use a center of gravity. What was trying to be taught to me, or what is being taught, is we're transferring weight. This is shifting weight. All right. Now, when I do this, I physically am not shifting any weight anywhere. Well, just ask yourself this. Go out here and hit golf balls, but you want to move your center of gravity. This would be called angular momentum, or angular momentum. So my center of gravity would move. All right. Some would say it's bad. Anyway, we use angular momentum, or we move our center of gravity around all the time, up, down. We're excellent beings at understanding what our center of gravity is. Here's what I mean by that. Let's just say you get on a weight shift board. Let's go back to the bubble. But I want to move the bubble in whatever direction I want to move it in, backwards, forwards, back, whatever. And the bubble doesn't move around. That's the secret. The bubble can't move. The bubble's not ever going to move around. But we get on these, you see people on these weight shift boards and things are moving because, how do I say this? People are trying to shift and turn and do things into something rather than allow my center of gravity to move. Now, think about how far my center of gravity is moving and my lumbar spine. So it would be movement of just that. We're excellent at moving and using our center of gravity through angular momentum and movement. It's a very linear affair. And what happens is as we're moving it in such a fashion that when my arm swings, my spiral line actually keeps me from rotating. And what your spiral line is doing is allowing me to use angular momentum. It knows I'm using angular momentum. So it lets me use it. So I am wanting to move, both legs are moving my center of gravity equally and smoothly in the directions I want. So you would not believe, I don't believe, look, I often ask myself why I don't do this more. Maybe because I got so caught up in C motion and I understand this as a center pivot. It's just easy. However, if you go look at Jimmy Ballard and these guys, all right? Jimmy Ballard talks about how we shift weight to the inside of this leg. Well, actually no. When you come to the foot platform sits at an angle, tilted to the side. Because at rest, all of our weight is on the outside of the leg and femur. It's actually designed to take it on the outside. We never shift weight. The inside of our leg is for propulsion, movement. Moving the leg while the weight, as people call it, is where it needs to be. By me using my center of gravity, I'm using both. Jimmy Ballard talked about, Hogan said it felt like he was grabbing the ground with the inside of his foot. Well, that's why Hogan's legs and knees were wore out. He was a great guy, said a lot of shit he shouldn't have said. He just didn't know. And then when you see Ballard talking about it, you'll see Ballard sitting there with his left foot out in front talking about shifting here, pivoting here, and elbows down. Nope, easier than that. We got our lines, we got spiral lines, we got all these lines. We just got to understand whether we're using ranges of motion of the spinal engine, or spinal engine is directing, let's just think of telling the distal limbs to do this. We are great at both. I would probably actually start shooting videos of me doing this more, all right? Mainly because I get hung up in talking about how people want to see it. Pivots, and remember, this used to be, don't sway. Well, everybody talks about how other athletes, they load the leg here. Now what they do is they move the center of gravity, they move the center of gravity. That's all they're doing is move. It's so simple, it's stupid. Then you start shifting weight. All right, if I'm moving my center of gravity, I'm always in balance, no matter where I'm moving or how I'm moving. All right, that's the part of Tai Chi and all these people getting in martial. It's just about understanding and owning your center of gravity. It's not about I want to balance on my pinky toe. All right, it's about calming down, quieting your center of gravity, motionless, in motion. That's it. That's all it is. Simple shit. But people take this stuff to they torque knees and they load inside. They say shit. Jimmy Fallon says, all right, your spine moves to the right. Moves into the right leg. Your spine can't move into your right leg. It's fixed on a pelvis. It ain't moving closer to your right leg. Your pelvis may get a little closer, but your spine ain't fucking moving right in the golf swing, especially with this turning this way. Try to turn this that way, and your lumbar spine move that way. Good luck. Good luck with that. The reason I bring it up, balance brought to me a lot by people. This is a lot like. No, it's not. So, the moral of the story is this is free and easy. It takes about 20 swings to master. So, I just... And oddly enough, here's what I'm learning quite fastly about doing this. Because I fight things like normal people fight. Aiming is one of them. I just hit these balls in the same airspace. Roughly, let's call it a 1 foot box. Trajectory, everything. Which has got my attention. My son just hit all the golf balls in the neighbor's yard. I'll come over here and get one of these. And what I mean by this is, if I'm able to walk up there and do this again, here's one thing I've learned. If you can do it 4 or 5 times in a row, you can do it 4 or 5 million times in a row. But education and getting better, improving and learning is about understanding the reality of why you move, or what's wow. What is the influencer of that motion? So you grew up as a kid, you weren't shifting weight. You're using your center of gravity. Then you go to school, they talk about center of gravities and put you this way. So you got an 18-wheeler run into a car, or just an 18-wheeler run down the road, hits a whatever. Its center of gravity hits something and blows through it. You still got that 18-wheeler that's going. It goes in a corner and it's got random weight in the back not tied down. It shifts, becomes unstable. It dumps over. It causes issue. It affects its momentum. You never want to affect your momentum. You never want to, if you think this is out of balance state, what's out of balance is you trying to take that same weight, like in the 18-wheeler analogy, and move it somewhere. Thinking you're never going to move the mass of the left side to the right side. The best you're going to do is have the mass of your arms over here. Even then, it's to the right of my center of gravity. not on my right leg. All right, because that's how the real universe operates. So that's what this is. That's what I'm going to teach my kids, how to use angular momentum in it doesn't have to be linear fashion. It just has to be a certain distance, because as I go and as my arm's coming up, the belly button's going to move a little. All this is going to move a little. Just has to move a little. Let's see if it'll repeat. Whoa. So, I sit here right now with an aha moment. All right? A huge aha moment for me. I fight aiming like everybody else. The problem with a center pivot and a thoracic hit shot, just like everybody else fights, is how to aim, because you're going to get twisted up over time because of your thoracic movement. This, no chance. I can tell you right now, zero chance. But this isn't weight shift. You need to feel 50-50 moving to center of gravity, wherever it may be. It is lower than you think. It's not your belly button. It's just you, lumbar spine moving. So now I've got lumbar spine moving, staying in motion. No chance for force to get to it, because my spine's moving my center of gravity, my lumbar especially. Again, go watch a center pivot player. Lumbar spine, it has got to move that way in a center pivot, because this is moving this way. All right? You can't move these two in the same. Even though I think I'm trying to move my lumbar spine here, it's still going to get. You can't stop it from happening. Once you come to that realization, you just realize this. Even for me, it just became optimal. I've got to take to the course. I've got to manage it in short shots. I'm not even managing. I can tell right now my brain and body's going, what took you so long? Because I only thought of this about teaching my kids I knew the two ways. I just got stuck on the fold, all right, thoracic turn with a fold unfold. That was pretty simple. That was like a no-brainer. What does come with it is, as I'm figuring out, hard to aim. This is not hard to aim. This can move even that way and this way, as long as look, this be moving that way and this way, you can't even tell. They all look left to right. This will be left to right. So this would be angular momentum. This would be everything we do. If you don't know what angular momentum is, think about when you see somebody do this, how far. Everybody's got a crotch, so all of a sudden if the crotch moves linear, your center of gravity moves, your spine moves on down the list. All right? Your spine's not an axis. Let's just say this. Your center of gravity is an important part of you to understand how to control. It's just a point, a location. Make it as big or small as you want. It's not an axis. But if you learn to operate it, control it, your anatomy trains brain, all this other stuff, vestibular, all these things you've learned and discovered, makes you easier to tomorrow just go out and do it. I just took 5 divots, identical, that way. So I just learned I can master my divot even more by going back to using my center of gravity. All right, this is still using my spinal engine, is just with very limited rotation. I'm taking my axial spine. All right, here's everything it is now that I'm thinking about like that. It's better for my neck, your neck, because I know people have neck issues. I know this can cause neck issues. All right, because all the muscles of your neck come down here and they attach to areas and you're twisting them all day. So this, be way better for that. This allows the head to carry with the momentum. This allows the tissues to really operate, your slings to even work better. Things I just never, again, even I can get hooked on. The look of something, the easiness of something, or the apparent easiness. This, ooh. All right, this is never gonna let me, if you're going this way, how are you ever gonna go out and over and across the line? All right, if you're using angular momentum, you can't. It's fucking possible because you have to stop doing angular momentum and turn in order to go that way. Even to swing out, you'd have to do something, halt something to get off of. Angular momentum only knows this way. Even in a curve, a soft curve, that's angular momentum. Rotation is really the kiss of death in movement, in motion. But angular momentum is everything. Angular momentum is the hardest you can hit something. The hardest you can throw something, the hardest you can kick something is angular momentum. But that aside, I just locked in and guaranteed I'm gonna aim great every day. Every day. I can still fold, unfold. Fold, unfold. Or I can just move my center of gravity and not worry about it. And that's optimal. All right, just move it. These know what to do. These are gonna do the same thing. No matter what you do, this is gonna create more angle than this one. Period. Has no choice. Why? Because this arm's gotta reach across the cell. This arm is this long, this arm is that long, so it's gotta do this to be here. That's why, simple. So, a lot of people are like, create width. My daughter learned we don't create width. We create I don't want to call it balance, because people take that the wrong way. But it keeps us from screwing up by containing, controlling. Up in here, and then let it back out. Don't worry about this. Worry about this. Just focus on this and take 20%. Focus on this. Any golf shots you want. Focus on this. And I'm talking move it. Don't move it closer to this leg. Don't move it closer. Don't get it up over here. Don't finish it. Oh, you're making it complicated. Just got to move it. Enjoy it. Have fun. I know my kids are and will, because I give them the only two options they have. There is no part angular, part rotation. Tried all that bullshit, it don't work. You're either a center pivot or you're moving your center of gravity at will in a direction you want. You will realize it doesn't have to be straight right left lines. Please understand that. It's not gonna be. But this is blowing me away. First time in 15 years, I'm excited. Enjoy your game. I'm going to hit some.